man to get the.
This is UMAR AHMED for IFL TV in association with MTK Global. We're at the public workouts for CRAWFORD-KHAN. Privileged to be joined by Bob Arum. How you doing, Bob?
Real good. I'm really good, excited. You know, this is my city. I don't live here anymore, but whenever I come back, it gets the blood going because there's no city like New York.
Bob, it's a huge fight week here. I want to go back to the press conference in London where you referred to Terence Crawford as someone who's good as Sugar Ray Leonard. What makes you say that? Well,
because I promoted a lot of Leonard's fights, and I was a great, and still am, a great admirer of Ray Leonard. And Terence Crawford, in his style and his ability, reminds me of Sugar Ray Leonard. And indeed, Terence may have another gear that Leonard didn't have, and that's the ability to switch from southpaw to orthodox the way Terence does.
This is nothing new for Amir Khan. He's been in huge fights before across the pond here. What sort of chance do you give Amir?
He has a really good chance, does Amir Khan. He's a tremendous boxer. He's very, very fast. A lot of the problems with him in the past have been his lack of concentration and his lack of dedication. But I have been told and I've seen that for this fight, he is tremendously dedicated and he is prepared to give the performance of his life. And if he does that, it's not a walk in the park for Terence, no matter how good Terence is. It's going to be a really competitive fight.
Bob, how have tickets gone for this fight?
Tremendous. Tremendous. We will have, I can predict now, we will have a sellout when the bell rings for that fight.
Okay, because your good pal Eddie Hearn said that for Lomachenko you didn't do many tickets. What was the capacity for that one?
The capacity for that one was 11,000, and Eddie was right. We fell short. There were 300 seats we didn't sell. So, you know, Eddie is a great, great genius, but like I said, when it comes to the United States and promotions, he doesn't know dick.
When do you think he'll know dick about boxing in America?
Well, when he comes and lives here and so forth. Now, I said the same thing. People said to me, if you bring a fight over to England, which I have in the past, how would you fare? And I said, well, I wouldn't do it except if I was in an alliance with a major UK promoter. Because if somebody said, well, Bob, you don't know dick about promoting a fight in England, I would say, yes, you're right.
Just back to Terence Crawford. If it goes his way this Saturday night, how likely is it we can get the Errol Spence fight next?
Well, you'd have to put a call in like I'm going to put a call in Tuesday or Wednesday after the fight to AHMED. I mean, it is an absolute crime if that fight can't be made this year, assuming Terence is successful with Amir Khan, because there is a dispute that people have as to who is the best welterweight, Spence or Crawford. I believe Terence is, and therefore I'm very happy to put Terence in the ring with Spence. I hope that they have the same confidence in their fighter, Errol Spence, who's a terrific fighter, and therefore we can make that match.
Do you think it'd have to be a situation where it'd have to be shown sort of on Showtime, on Fox, and on ESPN?
That fight is a pay-per-view fight. Now, on a pay-per-view fight, you can have two major companies distributing the fight. We did that in Mayweather against Pacquiao. It was Showtime and HBO. So to do a distribution deal now with Fox and ESPN is only going to make the event even bigger, because if, say, Fox and ESPN were distributing the fight with the megaphone that each have, it would be enormous. It's a win-win for everybody.
Moving on to Lomachenko, in the post-fight press conference after the collar fight, Lomachenko had a few words for Gervonta Davis, saying he's the best fighter on Twitter. What did you make of his comments?
Well, you know, Gervonta Davis may turn out to be a terrific fighter, but right now we look at him as being somebody wet behind the ears. I mean, maybe he rises to a higher level. I know that Floyd is high on him, and Ellaby is high on him. But the truth is he's not there yet. And for that, I call on my expert witness, Floyd Mayweather Jr., who said just that. You know, you don't want to rush a kid who could be a defining talent like Gervonta Davis into a fight against an experienced great guy like Lomachenko and roll the dice. I mean, that's not a smart bet.
What's the likelihood that Loma's going to come to the UK for the Luke Campbell fight?
Well, if Mikey gives up the title, hopefully Mauricio Sullivan would make for the WBC title a fight between Luke Campbell, who's #1, and Lomachenko, who Mauricio admires. That fight is tremendous, and we would be very, very happy to do that fight in the United Kingdom. It would do tremendous business and show it on ESPN in the afternoon.
Just lastly, Bob, you've made 2 big acquisitions this year from the UK in Tyson Fury and Frampton. I want to talk about Tyson Fury first. There's been a fair amount of criticism about his opponent, Tom Schwartz. Can you understand that from people?
No. People are full of beans. The guy, what do you want? He's a big 6'5" German who's beaten everybody that he's faced. I mean, is he the next coming of Muhammad Ali or even Joe Frazier? I'm not saying that. But for what's around today, he's a big, competent heavyweight. The one thing we don't want to do with Tyson Fury is put him in with little guys, and people say, well, this big giant is beating up on little guys. Now he'll be fighting a German who'll test him, and I think it's a good fight.
Hopefully we get either the Wilder rematch or the Joshua fight this year or early next year. For the Joshua fight, would it have to be in the States for you?
Listen, these fighters, whether it's Tyson Fury, Deontay Wilder, or Anthony Joshua, to make the most money from a fight, you have to do it in the United States. We are an infinitely bigger country than the United Kingdom. Therefore, the pay-per-view in the United States on a fight like that between the two, any two of them, could go up to 2 million, maybe more homes. That's $100 million. Now, if you do the fight in the UK, you'll do pretty good pay-per-view business in the UK, but the amount is $13 into the promotion. Here, the amount would be $40 into the promotion. If you're lucky, you do 1 million homes, which would be amazing given the population. And then in the United States, you couldn't go pay-per-view because it was in the afternoon. And you'd be throwing away $100 million. You do it in the United States, it's on pay-per-view in England, it would be 3, 4 in the morning, right? Not a great time, but you'd still do 400,000 or 500,000 homes, either with Fury or with Joshua. So the fight belongs in the United States, period, end of the story. Now, for Tyson Fury against Wilder, that's not a problem. For Joshua, because of his contract with DAZN, that might be a problem. I don't know. But that's why I look forward after they do a job, hopefully, building up Wilder in the United States so everybody knows him, and we did a job that we can do with ESPN, building up Tyson Fury with his personality so everybody knows him. A Wilder-Joshua fight, a Wilder-Fury fight in the United States could probably do 2 million homes and bring in close to $100 million.
Okay. What did you make of Wilder reportedly rejecting a $100 million deal from DAZN?
it was the right deal to do, because let's assume Wilder fights Fury and makes close to 60, 70 million for the fight, and then there's a rematch and he makes another 50 to 70 million. He's much better off not going with the zone, because the zone, he would be limited with the amount that he could make.
Just lastly, Carl Frampton, Oscar Valdez, that fight, is that a potential fight for this year, even the Santa Cruz trilogy?
There is not any question but that fight will be made this year. That's what we signed Frampton for. With his experience, he can give Oscar Valdez a hell of a fight. That's a really interesting fight.
Actually, Bob, just the last one, Kovalev Yard. People saying it's agreed, it's happening in Russia. Can you give us any update?
I'm not so sure it's agreed to. We'll have to see. And besides, I'm sort of peripherally involved with Kovalev. Kathy is her real promoter, main events, and they're much more up on it than I am.
Bob Arum, thank you very much for talking to IFL TV.